Very good morning to all of you, even though the number is small. But I believe it's going to be a wonderful discussion. And we have three beautiful young ladies with us who's going to present to all of us a very interesting topic, something that is very close to our hearts. And let me invite the speakers first over here. First is Dr. Michelle. Can we put our hands together and welcome her? Please, you can sit here. Place is here. You can sit here. Maybe I can sit there. Okay. The other person is one Atika. Can we put our hands together and welcome her? One Atika. And our very own from APPGM MySDG, Dr. Siti Noor Ain. Yes. Yeah. That is Dr. Siti. Please be careful when you're coming up. You are very special. Okay. Right. How is everyone today? Are you all with us? Or you're on a different planet? You are with us. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, so today's topic, let me, before I introduce speakers one by one, let me put a proper note before us. So today's topic is building inclusive communities through cultural and faith experiences. A very important subject to have a holistic understanding on this subject, on cultural and faith and so forth. The similarities, the differences, even in homogeneous and monolithic communities, they have also differences. You have different cultures, different tradition, different faith, so we have different understandings about that. I have actually 3 A's to this, in understanding cultural, faith and experiences. So that is appreciation, assimilation, and also acceptance. This moves beyond tolerance. Because some people will say, no, we are living in a heterogeneous community, a multi-ethnic community. We need to tolerate each other. Because tolerance will come to a stage where you will not tolerate anymore. But when we have the mindset of assimilation, acceptance, and tolerance, and also acceptance, I think probably we could move beyond. So I'm not a speaker today, so I am just a moderator. So that let's hear from our 3 distinguished speakers over here, and I would like to have a very robust discussion. Ask good questions. If it's not good question, also it's okay. We will try to make the question good, and we can have very good answers and so forth. Right, now the first speaker, she has come all the way from Hong Kong, right, Doctor? She's come all the way from Hong Kong to share about experience, cultural and faith of the Chinese people in building inclusive communities. Very interesting, looking at Hong Kong, also known as a cultural melting pot. This is something that I got when I was preparing this. You have a population over 7 million. You have different ethnic backgrounds. Culture highly westernized. I heard. I read that the culture is highly westernized, but with strong emphasis. Something that's very that I was to read further. You have very strong family values and institution, even though your culture is highly westernized. Cosmopolitan city blends with Western and Asian influences and so forth. And she is a professor and program director of Master of Social Science in Social Work, a full-time program at the Department of Social Work, Hong Kong Baptist University. So she is a sociologist by experience and so forth. And thank you, welcome. And next is one Atika, also a very interesting young lady, because we met, Dr. Dennison and I, when we came to your center, very interesting to talk about harmonizing and harmony, peace, and so forth. Cultural heritage, so an aspiring urban anthropologist, so very good. Views her daily life as an ongoing and ethnography, blending arts, cultural heritage, and urban development. She's the head of the program department at Penang Harmony Corporation. You know, for the benefit of Dr. Michelle, so Penang is on the northern side, just about 2.5, 3 hours drive from here. So we have one, so she's going to share about her program, her activities, attempt at placemaking, and Penang State Canon for Harmony and Inclusive Society. Then the third speaker is Dr. Siti Noor Ain, our APPGM constituency officer. And she's a graduate from University Utara Malaysia with a master's and also PhD in public management, specializing in leadership in public organization. And she's currently a constituency officer at APPGM. She focuses on youth development in Muar parliamentary constituency and leads issue mapping studies for multiple constituencies, including Rantau Panjang. So her paper is going to be on looking into the Malay community, the Malay Muslim community, Siamese, Buddhist, and Chinese Taoists from Rantau Panjang, the East Coast state in Malaysia. So are you all excited to hear from them? Okay, thank you very much. So let's put hands together and welcome Dr. Michelle for your first presentation. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much for James for a very wonderful introduction of all of us. Let me discuss about the case of Hong Kong by showing the emergence of social enterprise in Hong Kong. So next slide. Before talking about the social enterprise, I need to give you some background about the social welfare provision in Hong Kong. As mentioned by James, Hong Kong is a very westernized society. That's why since after the World War II, when Hong Kong is a colonial city, you can see that from the government official document, they have already said that in order to provide social service in Hong Kong, actually the voluntary participation is part of the government planning. That means that the government will not do everything themselves, even though the government will provide funding to support the service, but the government will not be the only service provider. Normally, they will do it by outsourcing to the non-profit sector. So you can see that in our first white paper on social welfare in 1965, the government has already mentioned that the provision of social welfare service is the combined effort of both government and voluntary organization, and having the same goal and understanding. So can I have the lights is here, and the mutual understanding. So that means also that the government cannot do it without the assistance of the voluntary sector. So you can see that there is a very close relationship, and also it is a codependence relationship between the government and NGO. So you can see that NGO, non-governmental organization, actually in Hong Kong, the meanings of non-governmental organization has another layer. Normally, it's only say that, okay, it is different from the government organization or private sector. But NGOs meaning in Hong Kong, the government need to specifically say that in their white paper to say that they will do the welfare service by NGO, not non-profit sector, but NGO. If you try to investigate the non-profit organization, normally non-profit organization and non-profit sector is the common term for the search. However, why Hong Kong specifically need to use the word NGO? Because the government deliberately want to differentiate the two different roles. Although the non-profit sector in Hong Kong share a very heavy load of the provision of welfare service, which should be delivered by the government themselves, but they are not part of the government, so they want to make a clear cut line. So this is the background. And although you can see that we have various organization and also various kind of service to provide. Still, because of the economic downturn since the 2007, that's why since 2009 and up till now, you can see that the poverty lines by household size is increasing. Then the question is how social enterprise contribute to solve this problem, because government periodically inject the funding to those kind of organizations to solve the social problem. However, still there, in a society, still there are so many problems that cannot be only solved by this kind of organization. That's why there is also emergence of social enterprise in Hong Kong. And the research question here is, what are their roles in Hong Kong? And what are the perceived benefits from the user's perspective? So the theoretical framework I employ here is by organizational capacity. Try to investigate the governance and leadership, human resources management, financial management, the planning, the program management, performance management, and also the partnership. All these aspects to understand the operation of the social enterprise. And in this study, I try to manage 3 in-depth cases analysis. I try to study 3 social enterprises in Hong Kong, to interview their chief executive officer, the CEO, their managers, and also the employees. And then I try to analyze from the economic perspective. So first of all, why I chose these 3 social enterprise, and they are very special because these 3 social enterprise are those emergence in Hong Kong when firstly there is a name of social enterprise, and they are the prestige one and last until 2016 when the studies carry on. So here's are the findings that 4 themes are fine. You can see that these 3 social enterprise try to fulfill the unsatisfied social demand, and they commonly using the business transaction as a method to solve this demand. And also, because it is revenue generating, that means that they can maintain the self-sustainability. And also, the common characteristic is that you can see that without this organization, actually no more organization will do this kind of service because they are the pioneer with high opportunity cost. Why it is so? Let me allow you to know more about the background of these 3 enterprise. Enterprise number A, actually it is the dialogue in the dark. They try to enhance those people with visual impairment to engage in the society. Their business model is that they will try to recruit those with the visual impairments to engage in a series of service provision to let the community know more about those groups with visual impairment. Actually, many big organizations or multinational organizations in Hong Kong will also use their service by providing some leadership training. They have a building as a site to provide some kind of adventure-based activities, such as the simulate environment that they will try to let the experience feel that if one day you are having visual these difficulties, then what will be like in that particular situation, and how can each other can lend a helpful hand. So these are their main goal for the service provision. And enterprise number B, actually it is a very interesting organization because in Hong Kong, although it is very westernized, it is not like in the United Kingdom. That means that taxi is a very small car. For those with physical disabilities, that means that they cannot move and only can rely on the wheelchair to go out. They cannot get on taxi. So the implication here is that largely and hugely affect their way to go out. So because of this organization specifically buy a few taxi that has a large space that can allow the whole wheelchair to get on the taxi. Why it is so important? Because in Hong Kong, there is no such kind of vehicle. If you want to do it, it is illegal because the car style is different. You need to modify it in a specific way. So if you want to go out by hiring a car with these features, actually it is illegal. So if you want to do it legally, you need to do it officially, like making a proper taxi to do it. However, this kind of taxi is very expensive. And normally for those for-profit taxi company, they will not invest to do this because it is very expensive and they don't think that, there is a market here. So this organization or this enterprise, they are inspired by actually their own mother because their mother has this issue, and that's why they want people have similar situation can go out freely without any limitation. And finally, the third one, it is an enterprise operated by a mental health agency. Normally, they will set up a lot of shops in the Hong Kong cities, a lot of shops. And those people with mental illness, they will participate in the production process. For example, making the product to sell, or even they serve in the restaurant. So this is if you play the game, just like the SimCity. This is a simulated business. Why they need to do so? Because before the transition to engage in a society, there is a long path. If people or the employer know that they are people with mental illness, they won't employ them. So this organization try to set up some different shops to let them have the opportunities to adjust themselves to work in such kind of business organization. So during the process, they also give them some flexi working hours based on their special needs that normally for-profit organization will not give this opportunity. So I know that the time is running out. I will try to shorten it and won't elaborate it more because I just want to let you know more about the background of this organization. So why it is solving by business transaction? Because business is a good platform for them to engage in the society. If it is not by business platform, just like a workshop for those people with intellectual disabilities, they just hide back from the scene. The community cannot get in touch with them. They just work in a workshop, just like a factory that, they just go out in the morning to the factory and then after working for a whole day, they go back home. And they don't have any meaningful communication with the society. So this organization try to use business transaction as a platform in order for them to engage to the society. And self-sustainability here is that why I need to introduce the background of Hong Kong social welfare provision before. Because in Hong Kong, although it is in partnership with NGO, actually the government also inject huge sum of money in this sector. So why they use the name or the branding of social enterprise? Because the common goal of this organization is that they don't want people to think that this is a charity. They even not allow people to find that, actually this is social enterprise. Normally, why people know them? Just because of their service and their product, and also because of their prestige brand. After passing of time, people think that, this practice and service is good. And finally, people find out that, actually they are in social enterprise. This is the main features that commonly found in these three organizations. And also, because of the service quality, they also attract a lot of people to engage in this business transaction. And that's why they also can self-sustain, although all three organizations mentioned that it is very difficult task for them because it is not for profit maximization. They need to serve the social goal. And if have time, I will elaborate more why this is so difficult, because it is not easy to manage a group of people with various features or backgrounds, and what you maximize is not for profit, okay? And finally, they are the pioneer with opportunity cost, high opportunity cost. Because as I mentioned, just make organization B as an example, because the taxi is very expensive. No for-profit organization will do this business. But because of this social enterprise, number B, the for-profit organization found that, oh, they should have a market there. So after their wonderful service for a long time, then some taxi company, for profit one, also try to make some kind of taxi to provide this service. But this is for profit service. At least you can see that the society can have choice now for them to choose, not only provided by the social enterprise. So we can see that this is also the work and also the job of a social enterprise. And finally, I know that time is up. And not only the organization, what I want to show is that when we interview the employee, all they found that there is a meaningful empowerment, and although also it is an individual-based empowerment and relational-based. That means that not only individually being empowered, most of them after working in this organization for a while, they can go to the market, the for-profit market, to find a job. And also, relational-based here means that they can all actually have more meaningful engagement with the other parties, and also they think that they can have self-reliance, which is the one that can boost them self-confidence. Why? Because they also don't want to be the burden of family. Also, as mentioned by James, although we know that family is a common culture, but normally people will also think, if I have difficulties, I don't want to make my family have the burden. So through the intervention by the social enterprise, you can see that they can have such kind of self-reliance, and they find that this can boost their confidence. So conclusion now, the last page, you can see that social enterprise in Hong Kong has a very special role here. So it is only can manage by reciprocal interdependence relationship between the organization and the concerned group for the survival. So you can find the codependency of each other during building up the so-called social inclusion in the society, and there has also improvement of quality of life and achieve esteem and self-actualization. So that's the end of my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michelle. I know that you've been holding your breath and then you're trying to finish it up, but don't worry, we will have more time for discussion, so you can also share about the cultural context and of the Chinese communities in acceptance to all the different aspects that you have actually very clearly you put on the social enterprise, the business entities, role of government, and also NGOs, the codependency, the correlation, innovation and learning, and how mental patients are also actually treated equally for training and employment. And that's good. That's good, but probably later during our discussion, we can talk about the cultural context, the minorities, and so forth, the Chinese community. Okay, so another thing I need to remind, please do not ignore the timekeeper. Sometimes we tend to ignore them. And because if you don't see them, you can hear them, right? The bell sound and so forth. So let's keep to the time. And let's move to the next presenter, Wan Atika. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to be over here so I can see my slide. Hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for inviting. Thank you to everyone SDG for inviting us to present, to share our experience from Penang today. Okay, but so maybe I just do a brief introduction. So my sharings today will be from our experience in Penang. So my home organization is Penang Harmony Corporation. So we are actually a state agency under the Penang state government. We are established under the non-Islamic religious affair, but we are also, in addition to the governance of the religious affair, we are also the driver for harmony-related programs, interfaith program and stuff like that. Okay, so my sharing today is about how Penang State Government are I would say to banking on its diversity to use it as a way to promote more interaction between faith and encouraging and using its diversity as a lab for people in general to experience the multicultural in Pulau Pinang. But at the same time, coming from state, it's also a place-making project. It's not just you existing in silo, practicing your own religion, but also how we build a common identity as a community. So I will start with a brief introduction of Spirit of Harmony and the process that we went through at Harmonico and the reflection from the practice. So Harmony, our home organization called Harmony Corporation, we use the word a lot, and I hope we are not taking it too lightly. So harmony is about, in music, it means about all the different sounds coexist and in tune. But in terms of diversity, in terms of community, what does it exactly mean? It means about people of different cultural identity, different faith, different practice, exist together, sharing resources and living in balance. But harmony in terms of community, we won't reach it if we will just exist in silo without interaction with one another. It has to come from getting to know each other, respecting one another, and understanding. So harmony will only be there if we respect, which starting from understanding and getting to know each other. Okay. So the program that I'll be sharing today is about Streets of Harmony, which initiated. We are not the initiator, but Harmonico is not the initiator, but we are continuing the effort of Street of Harmony in Penang. Okay, so Street of Harmony is an initiative to identify and acknowledge pockets of faith communities in Penang that has been coexisting, functioning, and living next to each other, sharing infrastructures and resources, and also represent the Harmony Penang. So throughout my sharing, I'll be throwing the words Harmony Penang a lot, which is coming from the states itself. So far, we've had 3 Street of Harmony. The first one started is Georgetown Street of Harmony, Seberang Street of Harmony, and Bukit Mertajam Street of Harmony. The latest one is Bukit Mertajam. The first Street of Harmony, the first Street of Harmony, which is Georgetown, actually this effort has started way back in 1990s. It started way before the existence of our organization. It's actually as a way to recognize the history of Penang as a port city, as a strait settlements, where we have a rich history of leftover of colonial, how colonial used to rule us, divide and rule, and we have placements of different community at different specific area. You are next to each other, but you are separated. So on how, how we choose to continue living with that history, it will by acknowledge that story, that whether it's painful or to some today, we're trying to color that painful history as something positive. Hence, we introduce it as Street of Harmony, where we recognize one common identity for those communities who are living next to each other. I hope later it will be more clear when it's shown on a map. So after Street of Harmony, Georgetown, and Harmonico exist, we continue that initiative in Seberang Jaya and later in Bukit Mertajam. When it first started, the Street of Harmony, Georgetown, I see a lot of contestation from the public because it was seen as a way to putting all the different religions as equal. In Malaysia, Islam is the so-called, it wasn't the religion of the state, but it was one of the main religions in the country. So when it was first introduced, a lot of publics come and cause an uproar. Why are you trying to put all the other religion, Hindu, Christian, together on the same level as Islam? Although we do acknowledge that it has a contested history, but it's also a good initiative. That's why today in 2022, we are reintroducing Street of Harmony, hopefully to paint it in a more positive way for the public. So this is Street of Harmony, Georgetown. It's actually it's a one whole street with multiple houses of worship. It's actually less than 1 kilometer. It's about maybe 700 meters, but there is a few different churches, one Hindu temple and Tao, and also Buddhist temple, and also a few different mosques. So this is how Street of Harmony started. Okay. Next is Seberang Jaya, where we introduce our new one. In this area, is a very small area, just about it's just a very small area where each of the houses of worship literally next to each other. And this one is actually due to the new urban policy by Penang, where they place all the houses of worship there. They're coming from somewhere else, but being placed there by the state government. We're doing the redevelopment project. And the next one is Street of Harmony, Bukit Mertajam, where it covers much diverse, wider area in Bukit Mertajam. So the context of each of the Street of Harmony is slightly different, but the idea is same. For it to be a diversity lab, for it to be a place for people to connect, to find a common identity regardless of their different traditions. Okay, so the process that we work in order to develop this project, this common identity as a Street of Harmony, we work very closely with the community. It cannot come from us to say like, oh, whether or not you are important enough to be part of this and stuff like that. You always have to work with community. They are the one who says, okay, houses of worship A is much older, much important to the community. At the end of the day, you cannot paint a new story without connecting it back to the local context, the geographical context, and also the historical context of the place. So that's why bringing in the community element into it is very important. So we went through a very long process of start from mapping, engaging, a lot of visitations to different houses of worships, getting their consent, getting their agreement, and selling the idea to them because we are bringing new thing. Street of Harmony is a new thing. But if they are not on board with the idea, it's impossible for it to, for them to welcome other people into their houses of worship. So hence, it's very important to get the community agree with it. Mm-hmm. So from the research, from the mapping, we do a lot of stakeholder meeting, we do FGDs and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, how to combine them under one collective. You need a common stories. That's why we also research about the local area and what is it, the history, that whether it has been told before or not, how that we can present that narrative as something that they can feel like, oh, I belong to this narrative as well. Mm-hmm. So, but the process doesn't, again, for houses of worship, it's not just about, oh, I know like my neighbor is a Tao temple and I get to know. It's not just that. To them, first is about my bread and butter issue. How do I sustain my temple? Finance issue, is my land issue settled? So we also come in to settle, assist them in that matters, the governance, which related to them dealing with the governments and stuff like that. And also bridging them to respective houses of worship. These are some of the keywords that they were mentioning when we talk about getting to know each other regardless of different faith. So this is something that you can take a look also later. And in order to bridge them, we have to come up with a lot of activities, like we do tours, we do exchange visitations, there is culture festival that we celebrate together and give them an opportunity to let each other experience your culture, your tradition, or even trying out doing something physical together. So another program that we introduced as part of Street of Harmony is we choose among all the three different Street of Harmony, which one is suitable for students. For maybe Street of Harmony A is more suitable for adults, for general public, more accessible on your own, and while another might need more assistance and facilitation by maybe tour guides, or maybe another is suitable for school children. So we are designing different programs for different sites in order for it to continue sustain as a Street of Harmony, as a diversity lab. Because some if you were to compare between these three different communities, some of them has more initiative. The community are way more involved in the initiative, are more welcoming towards people, and some need more guidance, while another are very, how to say, very creative in come up with more initiative or even go out of their way to establish some new program even without us. So different sites need different assistance from, at different sites we come in at different level. For example, this is at Street of Harmony's Seberang Jaya, where the community is very active. Even them are the one who work together with our facilitator and partner to devise an education program for school kids. Okay, so way forward, of course, us as a Harmonico, we are the bridge between the houses of worship and the government. We are not there just to like bring a new program or paint a new picture, but we are there to help them navigating the bureaucracy of the government, whether to solve their physical issues lah, basically. But at the same time, it is also important to bring in the programming, the soft program, to encourage people to interact more, for it to be a platform for them to get to know each other. So hence our programming coming in lah. These are few keywords that are coming from the respective from the community itself on how they can work together with each other. This is actually not their keywords for us as a Harmonico, but this is what they wanted for one houses worship to one another. This is the values that they think they should instill in order to move forward together. Okay, so I think the most important lessons for us and Street of Harmony is about stakeholder management. We realize we are coming from the state. We were only able to do Street of Harmony because we are the state identity, and we are the one who coming in, hey, we want to do this. And but if we're given this to an NGO wanted to start something similar, they might face some certain difficulty. But as a state, there are certain agencies that we have. But of course, at the same time, there are also other stakeholders that we have to convince. For example, us ourselves is a Harmony Corporation, and then we have the state with the specific goal, and the respective faith organization with their specific interests, and also the public. For the state, there are certain, they have a policy, which Penang 2030, where we try to, as long as we keep it to the state policy, we can keep the Street of Harmony going. At the end of the day, it's about getting the buy-in from all these different stakeholders and make sure whatever their goal is aligned. It's fulfilled. Maybe from Harmonico level, for us, is about instilling universal values. It's about understanding among different community. That's, in general, that's all what we want to do. But at the same time, we recognize we have different stakeholders and we have to fill their expectation. And with that, I would like to end my presentation. There are some videos, but I don't think I have time.
Thank you very much that you kept it on time, so we need to give you a round of applause. Thank you very much. I think you have very clearly defined some keywords. So from Hong Kong, we heard about the economic factor of the Chinese community and how the role of government, agencies were all involved together in addressing the economic differences, because if that is not addressed, it will also cause disharmony among the different ethnic groups in the communities. Then from there we move to Malaysia, which is Penang, a very beautiful island. And we have heard about the common identity, living together. These are some of the strong keywords that Atika brought it up. And also coexisting, working with communities, which is very important. One thing I really liked, the quote that you said, transform a space into a place. This is the next level that we need to move in order to respect diversity and so forth, and instilling universal values. Okay, these are some of the keywords that we need to keep in our mind. And from Penang, we will move to East Coast. Our last presenter, our very own Dr. Siti, will be also sharing a very interesting case study that recently APPG MySDG was involved. Over to you, Dr. Siti.
Okay, thank you, Mr. James. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all of you. So we know that our Malaysia is a multiracial country. So let's see how our multiracial applied in Rantau Panjang, Kelantan. Actually, okay, Rantau Panjang is located in Kelantan, which is East Coast in Malaysia, and it is one out of the 222 parliamentary constituencies in Malaysia, and the ruling party is actually opposition. This is actually more than 30 years. The ruling party is opposition, which is PAS. PAS considered as Malaysia Islamic politics. So when we heard PAS, they consider PAS is extremist Muslim. Okay, and then the population consists of more than 116,000 Malay, Chinese, Siamese, Indians, and the Burmese. So Rantau Panjang is actually the bordering of Malaysia and Southeast Thailand. Okay, the objective of this case study is actually four, and mainly focus on the inclusivity in Rantau Panjang. So we can see there are three pictures that we snapped from Rantau Panjang. There is a masjid, which is mosque for Muslim, then temple. Wat Utamaram is for Siamese, and then this is the Chinese community village in Rantau Panjang. Okay, we rely on six perspective, which is interactivity, collaboration, diversity, fair and no boundaries, open and sensitive engagement, and also engagement, which is we want to see whether these six community perspective is applied in Rantau Panjang. Okay, how the cultural integration happened. So the assimilation, when we went to Rantau Panjang, mostly my non-Kelantanese or non-Muslim friends or clique will shock. Is this Kelantan? Is this, where is the Chinese? You say we want to meet the Chinese, so where is it? Because when we went there, we asked them, can we talk with this Chinese community? Okay, I'm the Chinese, but he looked like Malay and attire like Malay, physical, and when we said, can you put your name? And then they said, which name? You want my real name or my Malay name? They asked us, which is they show that they already know our culture, they already influenced by our culture, but in Kelantan, there are no difference. We cannot difference. Where is the Siamese? Where is the Chinese? And we also have Indians, but we have no time to meet them because of lacking of time. And then Rantau Panjang also have three headed by three religious person, which is Imam, Dausha, and the Tok Raja. So they actually working together to ensure the community harmonious at the Rantau Panjang, in Rantau Panjang. And for Malay Muslim community, the majority there, they accept them. They accept the Siamese, they accept the Chinese without skin color, no boundaries for them. They also sharing their foods, sharing their festival like Hari Raya, Chinese New Year, Loy Krathong, and then they celebrate together and they work together. There's no like if Hari Raya only for Muslim, no. Chinese also celebrate Hari Raya, Siamese also celebrate Hari Raya, and Malay also celebrate Loy Krathong and also Chinese New Year, and also Deepavali. And then when we went there, we found that the Chinese community there is from Chinese Peranakan, and they already adapt the culture of Malay and Siamese. They eat our food together, and then they know how to cook Malay food. They know how to cook Siamese food. And then we, like I mentioned before, we cannot difference which is the Siamese, which is the Chinese because of their language. They using our dialect, which is Kelantanese have a special dialect, so they will talk in that dialect. They will even they talk with their community. They also sometimes using the language, but they know their own language lah. And for Siamese, actually, Siamese have their own language studies, own cultural studies in their temple. Okay, if you can see here, this is the temple in Rantau Panjang. My Indian friends shocked when they went there and see this biggest temple in Rantau Panjang, which is the state that ruling by opposition, and the ruling party is PAS, which is Islam. So they shocked, wow, so big. And we also have this in their Buddhist temple, and actually this is built in 1925 years ago. So this is this shows the uniqueness in Kelantan, which is we have temple for Siamese also. And the perspective from Kelantan state government, actually Kelantan state, they have their own administration policy, which is they rely on like Islamic values. So one of them, let's say the kifalah. Kifalah scheme is actually for people who lost their families for the funeral. But this is even though the name is kifalah, which is from Islamic perspective, but it is applied to all. Even you are Chinese, you are Siamese, Indian, you can apply this scheme. And duafa for housing and all al-in'am also can be applied by non-Muslim. And yes, true, they do mention about gambling and alcohol, but the people there, community there, which is Siamese and Chinese, they do drink, they do gamble, but they don't do it in a public area, like in Muslim community, no. We didn't restrict them to do that. We never said, no, you cannot do that because this is Kelantan state. No, they still do, but they still respect for our Malay community. And this is one of the famous mosques in Rantau Panjang, which is Masjid Sultan Ismail Perak, Jubilee Perak, but called as Masjid Beijing. Actually, they resemble from New J mosque from Beijing, 1,000 years ago. So they applied the design for this mosque from China. They adapt from China. So is it weird why Muslims still can go and pray and focus on our religious thing in this like temple design? Okay, but this mosque also can be entered by non-Muslim. There's so many tourists coming, and Imam, who is the head of this mosque, allowed them to go. You don't have to. You have to wear proper wearing, but you don't have to wear scarf. So we provide like a whole cloth so that you can cover to enter this. But you don't. They will not ask you to go back if you are not wearing your scarf. So you can just enter. Okay. And then the total cost is 8.8 million. This was built in 2005 by allowed by our Menteri Besar, late Tuan Guru Ni Aziz, and he said it's okay to spend more on this mosque, and we can invite you guys from Siamese, from India, from Chinese coming here. And we found that the uniqueness from Rantau Panjang community is first is our culture, which is when we have a fast or whatsoever, all of us will help each other to ensure the ceremony. And then they also, like I said, they also have their own nickname, which is Malay nickname. And then some of Chinese and Malay know how to read and write in Jawi, the Arabic language. Okay, and then Malay also can speak Siamese and Mandarin well in Kelantan. So even though the food, they said Kelantan is famous of one food, which is like anchovies, which is budu. So actually Chinese and Siamese also eat voodoo. So they adopt the culture from Malay, which is a majority. And then we can say Malay also adopt the culture from Siamese, which is they know how to cook tom yum well. So that's the answer for why Kelantanese cook tom yum well. So actually they didn't separate, no separation between this community. And we found the challenges, but the main challenges now is from a Siamese and Chinese perspective is the youth already migrate to others countries, other states, so they didn't apply the culture anymore. So it's quite a big challenge for them to ensure the culture for Siamese and Chinese and also Malay to be still there. And the SDGs that relate, we have 4, which is SDG 3, 10, 16, and 17. And from our reflection is we found that the government of Kelantan is actually the one that ensure the harmonious and peacefulness in Kelantan. Even though we have a mixed ethnic, mixed racial, and then mixed religion, but we still can be in peaceful, and there's no actually the extremist Islamic in Kelantan. And that's why Siamese and Chinese still can adopt and adapt the way Malay and Muslim culture. And for the conclusion, actually Rantau Panjang we can see is a good framework to be applied for whole country for a good and harmonious place that apply the inclusivity for the community. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siti. I think it was a wonderful case example. It's not only theoretical ideology, but it's also a kind of, it is not a kind of, it is a lived reality that you can see that how people, different culture, race, live peacefully, harmony, coexistence and so forth. And what she has beautifully said, that we are to preserve this beauty and uniqueness and living together in a plural society, to support one another, to support different culture, respecting diversity and living in harmony. So this is a real case study. Even we from APPGM, like myself, when I went to Kelantan to look at this, I was utterly shocked. You know, people living in a different environment together, peacefully, respecting, learning the language, respecting the different identities, even food, for example. So I think we have heard 3 different perspectives over here, from Hong Kong and then from Penang and also from Kelantan, the case studies and so forth. We will now open for questions. We will have more time for discussion. So Dr. Michelle, if you might have missed out anything, you can actually talk more over here based on the questions and so forth.